That toad in your garden may know something about your soil that you don't. It isn't there by accident. Its skin absorbs the environment around it, and when a toad finds a place contaminated with the wrong chemicals, it may not survive there at all. So when one settles into your garden, comes back night after night, and refuses to leave, your garden may have just passed a test you didn't know you were taking. But that's only the first strange thing about the animal living under your flowers. Because while you're asleep, that same toad may be hunting the pests destroying your garden night after night, completely free. And once you understand what that little animal is actually doing there, you may never look at a toad the same way again. You're on your knees, pulling weeds from a garden bed you've worked for months, when your hand freezes an inch from something that isn't soil. Brown, motionless. For a second, your brain can't decide if it's alive or just a clump of dirt shaped wrong. Then it blinks. You pull back slowly, pulse a little quicker than it should be for something this small. And as you sit there staring at this toad tucked into the exact corner you built with your own hands, one thought won't let go of you. This wasn't random. Of every yard on your street, it ended up in yours. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why and what that says about ground you've walked over 100 times without ever really looking at it. The instinct almost everyone has is the same. Random. Toads hop around blind, looking for shade, and whatever yard they stumble into is the one they stay in. Pure luck, nothing more. It's such an ordinary assumption, nobody questions it. A toad shows up the same way a leaf lands on your porch. Charming, meaningless. Except, a toad's body isn't built for stumbling around indifferently. It's built to test everything it touches. Unlike almost any other land animal, a toad doesn't drink through its mouth. It drinks through its skin. That same skin breathes for it, regulates its temperature, and pulls in whatever's in the soil and water around it, with nothing filtering what gets through. Which means a toad can't afford to be careless about where it settles. Soil that's been hit with pesticide, water carrying fertilizer runoff, its body registers that almost instantly, and it moves on, or it doesn't survive long enough to. So when a toad stays, when it tucks into a shaded corner and keeps coming back night after night, that's not chance. That's a living instrument that just ran a test on your garden. And your garden passed. But passed what exactly? Scientists have an actual term for this: bioindicator. Researchers at institutions like the U.S. Geological Survey and the Global Amphibian Assessment classify amphibians as the most sensitive vertebrate bioindicators on land, full stop. That permeable skin means whatever's in your soil becomes part of the toad almost immediately, with no digestive barrier standing in the way. It's why when an ecosystem starts to degrade, amphibians vanish first, before the birds react, before insect populations visibly shrink. The toads go quiet first, which means the reverse holds true. A toad that's alive, settled, and unbothered in your garden has just handed you a result no soil kit or pH strip could ever produce, because none of those tools are actually alive in the dirt they're testing. The toad is. Their ancestors go back farther than almost anything you'll meet outside a museum, crawling onto land over 360 million years ago, surviving 5 mass extinctions, spreading to every continent except Antarctica. Whatever design flaw might have ended a lesser animal, this one solved hundreds of millions of years ago, and it still chose you. That's flattering. But it raises something stranger.
What is this animal actually doing while it's here? It's not a decoration you admire from a distance. It's a hunting animal, active mostly when you're not, meaning for months, maybe years, something has been working in your garden every single night without you seeing a second of it. After dark, your garden becomes a different place entirely. Slugs glide toward your seedlings, snails rasp through leaf tissue, cutworms curl at the base of stems, ready to sever them by morning. Moths land on leaf undersides to lay eggs that hatch into caterpillars within days. Even standing water becomes a mosquito nursery. This happens in every garden, every night, chaos invisible to daylight eyes. Except in yours, something's already waiting for it. A toad doesn't need light to hunt. Its real weapon is vibration. It feels a slug's movement across wet soil, a beetle shifting through leaf litter, tracking prey through touch alone in total darkness. And it doesn't hunt lightly. In emphasis, a single adult toad eats 50 to 100 insects in one night. Across a full growing season, that's thousands of pests removed. No spray, no residue, no runoff. A pest control system that's been running on instinct alone since long before the word agriculture existed. And it's been doing it for free every night you've been asleep. This isn't a one-off favor. It's an ongoing system that's been quietly running as long as that toad has called your home. A study published in Herpetological Conservation and Biology compared plots with established amphibian populations against plots without them, controlling for other variables, and found measurably less pest damage where the toads were present. Not folklore, measured. But here's what actually changes the scale of this story. What that toad is doing for your 10 square feet of soil is a tiny local version of something happening or failing to happen almost everywhere else on Earth. If toads are this precise at reading the health of land, it means in the places where they've quietly stopped showing up. It's not hypothetical. Over 40% of amphibian species worldwide are currently threatened with extinction, according to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, a higher share than any other vertebrate group, including mammals and birds. More than 200 species are believed to have vanished entirely since 1980. Not declined, gone. The causes compound each other: habitat loss, climate change, a fungal pathogen called Batrachiochytrium dendrobites, and chemical runoff building up in the same freshwater systems amphibians need to breed. In places where frog calls used to be background noise old enough that humans evolved to sleep through it, that sound has gone rare enough to stop people mid-step. The same trait that makes a toad the perfect judge of the health of your garden is the trait quietly wiping populations out worldwide. Its greatest strength has become, in a compromised world, its greatest liability. Which means somewhere out there, in yards not so different from yours, the toads already left or never came at all. And that reframes the one in your garden completely. Because while nature reserves get the funding and the headlines, researchers have found something almost nobody expects. Ordinary private gardens have quietly become some of the last significant amphibian habitat left in developed regions. In the UK, garden ponds alone support more amphibian populations than every official nature reserve in the country combined. Your yard was never separate from the wild world in some smaller, lesser sense. It might genuinely be the wild world now, one of the last livable patches for a creature disappearing everywhere else. That toad didn't just pass an inspection, it found a refuge, and it picked the one you built without ever knowing what you were building it for. So, what do you actually do with this? Mostly, nothing. If a toad has already chosen your garden, the single best thing you can do is leave it exactly alone. Don't relocate it, don't handle it, and keep an eye on outdoor cats, which are one of the quiet ways these small residents disappear from yards that seem safe otherwise. If you want to actively invite one to stay, the asks are almost embarrassingly small. Shade, a broken clay pot on its side, a loose pile of stones with dark gaps, a strip of leaf mulch left along a bed edge instead of cleared away. Any of these is a 5-star refuge to something that spent 360 million years learning what safety looks like. Water, a shallow dish kept consistently filled with a stone inside so nothing struggles to climb out. A dish that dries out every few days teaches the animal to stop trusting the spot. And the biggest one, no synthetic pesticides, herbicides, or
high-concentration fertilizers. Not because they don't work, but because they work in a way that quietly poisons the exact creature you're trying to keep. Give that up, and you're not losing control of your garden. You're trading it for a system that regulates itself for free every night, indefinitely. So next time you catch that small shape at dusk, still half-shadowed, a pair of eyes catching the last light, don't just see a toad. See proof. Proof your soil is clean enough to sustain something that can't survive anywhere compromised. Proof that an animal older than flowers, older than dinosaurs, looked at what you built and decided it was worth staying for. Proof that even as wild spaces shrink and the nights grow quieter, nature still knows exactly how to come back if you give it a reason to. You didn't get lucky. You passed a test you never knew you were taking. And the toad isn't the only creature quietly grading the ground beneath your feet. There's another one, an animal most people try to get rid of on sight, that chooses its home with the exact same precision for reasons almost nobody realizes until it's already gone. That's next. Hit subscribe now, because you're going to want to know what else is really living in your yard. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.